Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Goaltending, where your why is bigger than your excuses. I want to say thank you for tuning in, allowing me to be a part of your journey. It is truly an honor and a blessing to be able to be a part of your life, to help you in any kind of way. So truly, sincerely, thank you. That in itself is a blessing. I want to ask you to share today's episode, okay? Because what I'm doing today is starting with step one of the 5-step process to goaltending, and I'm doing a deep dive into just step one. So you can go back, you can reference all 5 steps in episode 1, where I go through a broad stroke of all 5 steps of the process to give you an introduction. But what I want to do with some solo episodes this year is do a deep dive into each one to really help you hone in on the plan that you want to set for the goals that you want to achieve. Now, today's episode is fueled by Prepping with Peppers. So excited to have them as a sponsor. And make sure that you go download the 5-step process to goaltending worksheet from the website. So go to goalswithwill.com, get the free 5-step process to goaltending worksheet. So that way you can get started in actually writing your plan out as we talk through this. All right, now let's get to it. What is step one? Step one of the process is identify your start and finish. So we have to figure out where we want to be and where we are right now. But I like to start with the finish. So when we're thinking about our goal, now first, there are goals within goals. We can go through that all day. But what I want to challenge you to do is think about where you want to be later in life. I want the long-term goal. I want to know where you want to be at the end of life. What do you want people to remember you by? What legacy do you want to leave behind? What do you want to be known for? What accomplishments do you want to have? What do you want people to say about you when you're gone? Like, think about all of those things. Like, what do you want that to look like? What do you want your retirement to be like? Do you want to retire? Like, what position do you specifically want to be in at the end of your life? And what do you want to be known for? Think about that. Identify that. The clearer that you can get on where you want to be at the end of your life, the easier it will be to align your goals and your actions to help you get there. It's going to help you set your smaller goals, your short-term and your mid-term goals, if you identify and you get clear on what that long-term goal is. So I want you to really think about what that is, where you want to be down the road. So start there. And I say that because once you're clear on that, I know exactly where I want to be. Now, when I'm setting my short-term and my mid-term goals, I can ask myself, does what I'm trying to accomplish, do the actions that I'm taking align with where I want to be long-term? If they don't, I don't need to be spending time on them. So the place to start whenever you're identifying, because the 5-step process, the goaltending worksheet, it's set up for like your 1 to 5 year goals. It's set up for those short to mid-term goals, right? But you can write down a whole bunch of goals to start. I just want you to throw things down on a piece of paper that you want to accomplish. Take a look at everything. So just divergently think, make a big list of these are things that I want to accomplish, right? Once you have that list, now you can look at that long-term finish line. Look at what things are on the list that align with that goal. Once you get there, now you might be able to mark some things off your list. You might be able to say like, okay, these things, although they sound good, although I think I like them, they're not things to help me get there. Now I can eliminate those things. They're not something I need to spend my time on, right? Next thing I want to encourage you to do is prioritize. Now we got to look at this list and say, what's most important right now? Now, I don't want to nerd out on you too much, but if you're familiar with a Gantt chart is going to, I know I'm talking for my project managers right here, but it's going to help lay out the tasks that you need to accomplish to reach your goal. So what we're doing with our goals is we want to prioritize and lay out what we need to accomplish when we need to accomplish it in order to get where we want to be long term. So you may have some goals that you can work on simultaneously, but I do want to say don't try to take everything on at one time. Because if you have a big goal list and you think, all right, I'm going to go after all of it right now, you are going to overwhelm yourself, possibly burn out, possibly fail at multiple things. You're not going to be able to give efficient and effective time to the goals the way that they need it. And so you're going to feel like you're failing just because you're spreading yourself too thin. All right. So I want you to hone in on just like one or two of those goals. And I want you to identify what it is you need to go after first. There can be some overlap. Okay. So like there are some goals that you may be able to knock out together because maybe they require similar effort. Maybe they're somewhat related or tied together. And so you can focus on more than one thing at a time, but you just don't want to take on too much. And then you may identify that you have to accomplish one goal before you can get onto another one. So in looking at that list, I want you to prioritize the list. What needs to be done first? What needs to be done second? Work your way all the way down the list until you have it in numerical order of which goals you need to accomplish first to last to help you get to that long-term goal again, right? That's what we're constantly focused on and have to remind ourselves to ask, does this align with where I want to be? All right, now once you have that, now you can look at, okay, which of these things can I do together? What things can overlap? That way I'm able to also be efficient and figure out how I'm going to do those things together and align my energy and my effort with those things, right? All right, so that's where I want you to get to. But now you've got your goal list. You've got them prioritized. You know what things you can knock out together, right? Okay, so now I need you to get super clear on the goal you're going after. You've got the prioritized list. What is number one on the list? Now you look at goal number one of your priority list, and that is what we're going to build the plan for in the 5-step process, the goaltending. That's the one we're focused on. So when I'm talking about I identify your start and finish now that is your finish line. That is what we are going toward. And I want this to be intense. I want you going after this first goal as hard as you can go. This should be a sprint. All right. We're not doing a long distance race for this one. This is your short-term goal, right? So I want you to give it the energy, the motivation, the passion to get started. Give it everything that you have. But to do that, you have to get very clear. All right. I talked about being as clear as you can with your long-term goal to help you with clarity on your mid and short-term goals. You should be able to close your eyes and picture every detail of this short-term goal. I mean, I want you to close your eyes. Don't do that if you're driving. I want you to close your eyes, though, if you're able to, in an environment where you can do it. Close your eyes, and I want you to picture yourself in the moment of accomplishing this first goal. I want you to be in your shoes. I want you to see the things you'll see, feel the things you will feel, hear, smell. I want you to create every detail in your mind, and I want you to feel that moment. That is where your motivation comes from. That is what is going to drive you. On days that it's hard, go back to that place. Okay, that is one of the things that is going to drive you in the journey, okay? And I want you to go back to that. I want you to think about that. That is your clarity. Now, if you did get the 5-step process, the goaltending worksheet, that's where you want to write that down. All of the details. Okay, exactly what the goal is. I'm not going to get into the SMART details again. I talked about that in episode 1. You can look up what the SMART acronym is if you want something to kind of help you with understanding the things you should think about in terms of how deep you want to go and the clarity that you want to have on the goal. But SMART objectives are a good way to go. A lot of people recommend and use that. So you have to get specific on that goal, very specific. And a very big thing to that is setting a date. Health, fitness, fat loss, sleep, all goals that are impacted by the fuel you put into your body. I've tried meal prepping at home, and I've tried multiple meal prep companies, including those that deliver, but I'll be honest, nothing has been better than the meals I get from Prepping with Peppers. They offer fresh, never frozen meals on a weekly rotating basis, so you don't have to get tired of eating the same meals over and over again. So save yourself some time for the things that matter most by ordering your meals at preppingwithpeppers.com. You can't set a date on that long-term goal necessarily. None of us know how much time we really have. Now you can, if it's like I want to retire by this date, that kind of aligns. So you could say like what age you want to retire by in the long-term goal. But in terms of how much time we have on the earth, none of us really know, right? But with a short-term goal, you need a date set. So that's going to do a couple things for you. First off, it's going to remove your ability to procrastinate. Because what's going to happen if you don't have a date? Other things are going to get in the way. You're not going to prioritize the actions you need to take, the things that you need to do to accomplish the goal. You know it's true because we always have things that we're like, I want to get this done. And until we set a date to it, it is very easy to let everything else in the moment get in the way of it. And then you're constantly kicking the can down the road. The more you do that, the longer it will take to get to your goals. All right, so set a date, get very clear on what that goal is and when you are going to accomplish it. And part of setting the date, it's not just about not procrastinating, okay? It's also about being able to backwards plan. If I know exactly what I want to accomplish and when I want to accomplish it by, let's say I want to accomplish this goal 1 year from now exactly, right? Now all I have to do is look back at, okay, what do I have to accomplish every month to get there in a year? And then I can break that down to the week. I can break that down to the day. And now I have an action list of things that I need to do daily to accomplish my goal, right? It's that simple. It sounds easier than it is, but it really is that simple. You can break it all the way down to the day of what I need to accomplish each day to get there in a year. It's doable. You just have to take the time to do it, right? All right. So now you're clear on what the goal is, when you want to accomplish it by. You've got the finish line, right? Once we have the finish, we have to know where we're starting from. That way I know how long this race is, right? Know how much energy I can give to it. So where are you right now in relation to your goal? That's where you're thinking about, like, where am I in life? You know, what things do I have right now that can help me toward this goal? Skills, knowledge, resources. I want to talk about those things a lot. You're looking at what the current situation is, all right? You're doing an assessment of where I am right now. Once you get that identified, you know where the finish line is, you know where your starting point is, and you're ready to get on your journey, right? But there's one more piece that I add into step one that you need from the very beginning. Your why. Exactly what I talk about on the podcast. You have to have a why bigger than your excuses. Because if you have ever gone after a goal before and fallen short or failed, or even if you succeeded, you know that you're going to hit challenges along the way. Obstacles are going to come up. Unexpected things are going to happen. Life is going to happen. So how are you going to respond in those moments? What happens in your mind is you hit a challenge, you hit an obstacle, and then another one, and then another one. And then you start to think in your mind, like, did I make the right decision going after this? Like, is this really meant for me? Maybe I took on more than I can handle. And doubt starts to creep into your mind. And then your mind becomes the challenge that you have to overcome. And that is why I say you have to have a why bigger than your excuses, because it's when you hit those challenges, it's when your mind becomes the challenge that you have to be able to remind yourself of why this is important to you. What does it mean to you to accomplish that goal? Where you visualized it, where you thought about like how you're going to feel in the moment of accomplishing your goal, that's part of it. That's tied to it. That emotion that you want to feel is part of the why. The tie that it has to your long-term goal and where you want to be in the end, that's tied to your why. You have to think about the values and beliefs that you have and what it means to you. And if you find a strong why, something that truly intrinsically motivates you, then the obstacles will not be able to stop you. There is nothing that will be able to get in your way and stop you on the journey to accomplishing your goal. So that is what I mean when I say find a why bigger than your excuses. I will say it time and time again. You will hear me say it again in every step of the process, most likely. But find that why. And when you do, there's nothing that will get in your way, or it'll try to get in your way, and you will be able to overcome it because you'll have the tool that you need to succeed. So I appreciate you all tuning in again. I want to wish you luck in the journey. This is just step one. The solo episodes that I do from here on, I plan to hit on one step at a time. I want to talk you through it. I want to get deep into each step of the process, and we are going to get these goals together. All right, so please share today's episode. It goes a long way. Like, subscribe, drop a comment with your thoughts and questions. I love hearing from you all. Join the conversation and let's grow.